Today, what we're going to be talking about is Mozart's 12 variations on A, Vous, Dirige, Maman. Okay, say A, Vous, Dirige, Maman. Cool, so you get to go home and tell your parents that you learned some French today. All right, so this is based on a very famous child's folk song. All right, so what you're going to hear is you're going to hear the melody first. What is that called when we have a melody and then we take the melody and we mess around with it just a little bit? There's a form of music that's called that. What is it called?
A variation.
Okay, what is the melody part called though? You nailed the variation part. That's the part that we mess with. What's the melody part called?
A bridge.
No, does anybody remember? It starts with a T. So this is blank and variations. What's the first part of that? Theme. So everybody say theme.
Theme.
And variations.
And variations.
All right, so the first part of this, we are going to hear the melody. What I want you to do is listen very carefully to it, and then once you recognize what it is, I want you to raise your hand. The second part of this, we're going to listen, there are 12 different variations. We're going to listen to variation 1, variation 3, and variation 8. And you'll see that you have on your worksheet a place for you to write. What I want you to do is tell me, what did Mozart do to vary the theme? Okay, so what are some ways that we can vary a theme that we worked on? What are some ways?
Speed.
Okay, we can vary the speed, making it faster or slower. What else can we do, Caitlin?
Notes.
Changing some of the notes around. What else can we do? Changing the dynamic markings from what they originally were. Okay, so that's what she just said, changing the dynamic markings. What about the rhythm? Can you change the rhythm? That's one of the easiest ways, and that's one that we've already done before. All right, so we're going to actually listen to the first one, which is the theme, and I want you to raise your hand once you recognize what this tune actually is. Okay, Chloe, what is it? Good, it's Twinkle Little Stars, you know it. Okay, this melody came first. The French version of it came first, but this is what the music looks like here. We are here. So this word right here actually means theme. This is the first thing that's played on it. So when someone actually plays this on piano, this is the first thing that you hear, and then they have 12 different variations that come behind it. All right, so we're going to go to the second one, and this is what the music looks like for the second one. This is variation 1. You just heard the theme. Now we're going to vary it. While you're listening to this, where it says variations 1 on your worksheet, I want you to tell me, how did Mozart vary the melody? What did he do to make this different from the theme? Whoops. So you should be taking your pencil right now and writing on variation 1. Okay, can somebody raise their hand and tell me, what did Mozart do to vary it? Verda.
He changed the notes to 16th.
He changed the notes to 16th notes. Can you still clearly hear Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?
No.
Yes, you can. Yeah, listen to it again. You can very clearly hear it. It's in the bottom voice, but you can hear it. You can hear it. Listen carefully. Now, if you heard this without the first one, you may be like, ooh, what is that? I don't know what that is. But you can definitely hear Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But he changed it into 16th notes and made it speedier. What about this one? Here's the second one. This is variation 3. And I will post the whole thing on Edmodo for you guys if you want to hear all 12 variations, because they're very cool, but it's very long. So I picked 3 that were very easy for us to identify what he did differently. Tell me what's different about this one. This is variation number 3. You should be taking your pencil right now where it says variation 3, telling me what Mozart did to vary it. Okay, I have a couple people that look like they're stumped. think about what we said at the beginning. You can vary dynamics, you can vary notes, you can vary rhythm, and a couple of people just put one word and that was fine. You don't have to give me a whole book, but what did we change, Natalie?
Staccato.
Okay, so he's making it a staccato style. Do you guys see the staccatos up there? And it definitely sounds more separated. What else?
Slurs.
Say it again.
Slurs.
Okay, we have some slurs in this one that we didn't have in the first one. What else, Maisha? We made some dynamic changes. There aren't any written in there, but can you hear them?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the rhythm? Is the rhythm different from the theme?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who can raise their hand and tell me how? Do you remember what this rhythm was called? This is advanced.
They changed the quarter notes to trip.
Very good. So these are triplets, groups of 3 on every beat. So listen to just the little beginning of it again and you'll hear that. Triplet, 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 triplet. Here it's 3 notes on every beat when you tap your foot. Triplet, 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 triplet. Okay? All right, this last one's going to be difficult, and I'll just tell you that up front. We'll see if anybody can figure this one out, and I put it in here to see how many smarty pantses we have in here. Here is variation 8. So you'll see on your paper it says variation 8. So tell me all the things that you see that Mozart did to vary this from the original theme. Whoops, except for we went the wrong way. Let's go back. There we go. Several things in here, Nick.
Accidentals.
Oh, very good. We've got some sharps and flats that we didn't have before. Margot?
He like cut the notes value.
So did it make it faster or slower?
He made it a lot slower.
A lot slower. Jacob?
He added ties.
Okay, so we have some ties in here that we haven't seen before. These are great answers. Skylar?
He put in crescendos and decrescendos.
Okay, there's some decrescendo. There's actually dynamic markings in this one, which you haven't seen in the other variations yet. Maisha? In a round, it's not actually in a round. You're hearing the melody repeat itself a little bit, but it's not quite in a round like when we did Frere Jacques, but it does repeat itself just a little bit. Okay, the first 3 were actually very happy. This one's a little more sad. The first 3 are what we call a major. Does anybody know when we change it to kind of sad or depressed sound a little bit? Nikolai?
It's when you maybe add lower notes.
No, there's another word I'm looking for. Nicholas?
Minor.
Minor. Okay, so listen to it again. I'm just going to play the very beginning of it. You can hear that it kind of sounds a little bit more sad, depressed, spooky. Do you hear it? Okay, we can go ahead and stop it there. If you look at the key signature, look at the key signature of this one. Okay, now look at the key signature of the previous one. You see how there's nothing? We're in the key of what?
C.
Key of C. So in minor, we can take the key of C and we can add 3 flats and it makes it into that minor sound. So if you take a look, have we added 3 flats here? Yes. Which 3 flats have we added? Look up here. Which 3 flats have we added?
B flat,
A.
Wow, that was terrible. Try that again. Ready?
B flat, E flat, A.
Good, so they go in order and that's actually going to make it into minor. Okay, so look at the end of your worksheet. Look at the end of your worksheet. It says you're going to play through the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star melody on your own. You're going to create your own Twinkle Twinkle Little Star variation by changing quarter notes into eighth notes like we've done in the past. If you finish early, I want you to do that first and practice it with your group. If you finish early, then you can do some of the other cool stuff we heard. Slurs, staccatos, changing tempo, adding dynamics. You can do those things if you would like, okay? But here's what I would like for us to do first. Let's go ahead and sizzle all the way through Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which is on the bottom of your page. Then we're going to play it together, okay? And then I'm going to show you really quickly how I would vary it if I were doing it, okay? Let me go back here so I can see. Yes, everybody see? It's very shiny and pretty. Nice. All right, here we go. Ready? So sizzling. 1, 2. Your sizzling instrument should be up. 1, 2, sizzle, go. Turn. Ready? And 1, 2, ready, play. Is this. I can add the eighth notes anywhere I would like. Let's just add them here, and I'm just going to do the first couple of measures so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And that's the first thing I want you to do. Okay, so you and your group need to come up with an eighth note variation for the first thing. Okay, so here's the first 2 measures. Once I finish the whole thing, then if I want to add some of the other cool stuff we saw, like staccatos or slurs or dynamic changes, then I can do that, okay? So now I've added staccatos to the beginning of it because my group's finished all the way with the eighth note variation, and it would sound like this. All right, does anybody have any questions on what I want you to do? The eighth notes are first. Okay, listen to the next set of directions carefully. Please do not try to move all of your stuff at the same time. I want you to, when I say go, stand up, find groups of 2 or 3, take your instrument and put a group together. So if the 3 of us are in a group, we all need to be sitting together. Then come back and get your stand. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to complete that. Go. You can talk because you need to find some partners. Just be very careful of the wires. Be very careful of the wires. Once you have found your group, then please come back and get your stand, your music, and your pencil. Go ahead.
I don't have a partner because I was getting a pencil and everybody.
Go see if you can find 2 people that are by themselves and go group with them. No, you're working with people out here.
Where? I don't know how to put my stand. Where? I am terrible. You want to sit here?
You have 1 minute. 1 minute to be sitting with your group and with your instrument and your music. Bryce, be careful. Are the 3 of you together? Yes. Can we scoot this way just a little bit? Chazley, are you 2 together? Okay. The 2 of you, can you scooch that way a little bit so you're not by their group?
I'm scooting over as much as possible.
You 2 gentlemen are together? Okay, who's together here? Can you guys scoot down 1 so you're not right next to them? The 3 of you together? You can turn your seats to face each other. The 2 of you are together? Or are you working with them?
I'm working with these guys.
Okay, so then can you guys scooch that way and can you scoot back that way just a little bit?
I'm the only one with.
I am going to need a path in case we have to get out of here in emergency. So can you guys move that way just a little bit for me? And you can face each other if you want. You got it, Jacob? Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're fine. There's a lot of extra stuff today.
You okay?
Okay, look up here. And waiting on you. Okay, so remember, you're doing the eighth note variation first. Write it down, practice it with your group. Once you've gotten that far, then you can move on to adding the cool stuff to it, okay? I'm going to give you about 5 minutes for eighth note variations. 5 minutes, go.
Okay, guys. I don't have any rhythms. That's okay.
Can I get you guys, well, let's do this. Why don't you scoot this way so we have a path in case we have to get out of here in emergency.
An eighth note. The first, like, you see the first note of this, the first note of every measure. First of every measure? What? See, the first note of every measure.
Yes, I see the first note of every measure. What do we do with it?
We make it an eighth note. Like this. Okay. You just connect them together. So, like this, and this.
And we need to write it on the actual page.
No,
To me, it doesn't really sound very good.
So wait, are you gonna wait? Are we allowed to change it from 4/4 time, 4 measures? I mean,
You can change any of the rhythms that you want to. Well, keep in mind, if you do that, then you're only going to have 3 beats in there, so you got to slide that eighth note in between there so you have 4 beats in the measure.
that's normal. It's not that easy.
I don't know. What do you think?
You can change it to 2/4 time.
That.
Okay, we're making sure we have the same thing, right?
Okay. Make them both 8 notes, which will be a lot easier. Yeah, if you change it to 2/4.
Actually, but you know, if you still play 2/4,
You're supposed to put a space between each measure, really, so it doesn't really matter.
Don't worry about the blood supply.
Do we have a question?
No, you have to make a joke. Like, if we switch the these to 8 notes.
You can, but if you're going to do that, and this is what the other group was saying too, if you're going to do that, you have to put the eighth note in here. Otherwise, you're only going to end up with 3 beats in the measure. So this is 1 and 2, 3, 4. If you beam them together, you have 1 and 2, 3, but you need 4 beats in the
Are we
measure.
allowed to change the from like 4/4 time?
For right now, just make it into an eighth note variation, okay?
So are we doing that?
Yeah, we can do that right there. And then only the first note of each measure. Okay?
No, what about CSA? Why can't we do that?
We're making sure we all have the same thing? Okay. If you want to move your tuba so you guys can see each other, you can do that. It's up to you. We're making sure we all have the same thing, right? Okay.
This is not easy.
So I hear eighth notes on the whole thing. Is that really that interesting though?
Well, maybe we should do it
For the first line? So you have a different idea for the second line?
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay, but
So make sure if those are eighth notes, they gotta be beamed across the top. Right? And then you guys need to have the same thing.
I can't understand her.
She went 1 and 2 and. So what you, here, let me show you. So if you beam them together that way, this is 1 and 2, 3. How many beats are you supposed to have? No. How many beats are in a measure? 4, right? So what you need to do is you need to make the eighth So now this is 1 and, 2 and, 3, 4. That makes sense? Okay.
Everyone gets swirled to be perfect at the end. Okay, now I'm done.
Say it again.
For the last measures, can we add these two? Like for the
We
last
haven't talked about this one, but yeah, typically for the ritardando, you're gonna put it on the last measure. But yeah, you can do that on the last note. Absolutely.
So can we do both of them?
Yeah, sure, that's up to you. However, somebody has to cut it off. So if I'm holding the last note, like watch, we're playing the last note. So that way she knows when to stop. Okay? All right, guys. Hey, if you are not finished writing in your eighth note variations by now, you should be. Okay? Practice it with your group. Make sure you practice it a couple of times. Then, and I've had some really great things people ask me if they can add into them. You can add anything we've talked about. So if you want to add staccatos, slurs, dynamic changes, you can add those things into it, all right, to make it interesting. Question? Okay, so I'm going to give you another 5 minutes to do that. You've got another 5 minutes. Go. Do we all have the same thing?
This is what I have for that.
So do we all have the same thing? All right, cool. Be carefully, all right? Just remember what we talked about, keeping that pitch up, right? Oh, no wonder your reed's really chipped. Try to keep that pitch up as you're playing, because it's going really flat. So Skylar, do you have the same thing they do? Yes. Okay. Have you guys played through this all the way? Okay, so I have a question for you. He has slurs, and you have slurs all over the place with staccatos at the end. So which one are we doing? See how he has the measures? Yeah. Nikolai has measures 3 and 4 completely slurred, and then you have slurs here, so we need to agree. Okay. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you do as long as you agree on it. So you guys are tying those together? They're not slurs if they're on the same pitch. That's a tie, right? So this would be 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, right? Have you guys played all the way through it? Are you going to add anything to the second line? Okay. So, is fortissimo what we intended? Yes. Because I saw Laura here holding her ears. That's how loud it's going to be. So that's what we want?
Yes, that's what we're gonna do, guys.
Okay. Are these staccatos?
Yeah.
Okay, so staccatos go underneath the note head. Have you guys played all the way through it? All right, and then we've added staccatos. All right, so go ahead and practice it, because I'm going to call on some people to play it for us. The F's, does that mean forte through the whole thing? Okay, you need to mark the same thing so you guys are on the same page.
They have more measures than me, so we're like mixing up here. Yeah, they should. No, like on the bottom. No, she has more.
No, you have the same number.
Oh.
It's just divided up differently. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 1 through 5 on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 1 through 6 on top. So you have an extra measure on the first
so it'd be
line.
my third measure. Never mind. Sorry.
So what did you go? Oh, I see. And we all did it the same?
We arranged them so that we have like kind of parts where each of us is louder.
Oh, okay. I like it. You guys practice all the way through it? Do it again. Make sure you're playing the dynamics. All right, so what I would like for you to do now is go ahead and put your instruments on your laps. That way they're not making sounds. All right, and do I have a group that would like to volunteer to play their variation? Nikolai, you guys want to do it? Okay, so everybody needs to be looking at them, not practicing or sizzling through your own thing. Keep your instrument on your lap and make sure that we are looking at them. All right, go for it, gentlemen. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. All right, give them a round of applause. We're going to see if we can guess what you did. So who can raise their hand and tell me what ways they varied it? Which ways? Okay, so we have some staccatos in there. All right, ding, ding, ding. We got that one. All right, what else?
It was like they like slurred like couple 2 measures like they like tied them.
So you're saying they slurred 2 measures in a row? Or slurred a measure in a row. Is that what you're saying? Okay, did we do that? All right, cool. Anything else? They added eighth notes. Did you guys hear that? What about da? What did they take out? What did you guys add there? You added the slurs, but they were basically half notes, right? Instead of da, 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 they added the slurs all the way across, okay? So some really cool stuff in that one. Who else would like to try theirs? You want to do yours? Okay. All right, so this is Joanna and Myasia. Same thing. Make sure your instrument's on your lap, please. Make sure you're looking at them. Don't be sizzling or practicing through yours. You ready, ladies? 1, 2, ready, go. Give them a round of applause, please. Did they use as many eighth notes as Nicholas and Nikolai? No, their eighth notes were much more sparing, so it was different. What else did they do? Okay, Kamari?
They did dynamics. It sounded like they did dynamics.
Did you add dynamics in there? You did? Where were they?
We did.
Talk loud.
We did a fortissimo at the end.
Fortissimo at the end, so you got louder at the end? Okay. Was that the only one?
And also put in soft.
You also put in a piano? Where did you put in a piano? Oh, right at the beginning. Okay.
We also added a natural chord.
Ah, so they changed the note. All right, very cool. What about staccatos or slurs? Did anybody hear any of that? Alora? Staccatos, good, right at the end. All right, let's have one more group. You ladies want to do it? Yeah. Okay. I'm anxious to hear, because they put something interesting that we haven't talked about yet, so I'm anxious to hear what this is going to sound like. All right, you ready? Instruments are on our lap. We're paying attention to them. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Give them a round of applause. We can do better than that. Give them a round of applause. Okay, Chloe, remember it's not football applause, but we definitely want them to know that we appreciate them being brave and playing it for the class. All right, what did you hear that maybe was a little bit out of the ordinary from what we've done? Skylar?
They made the last note longer.
They made the last note longer. Does anybody know what musical marking indicates making the last note longer? Christopher? It's that thing. I know what that thing is. Elise?
It's the hill with the dot.
It's the hill with the dot in the middle. I love it. I have never heard it described that way. The hill with the dot in it has a name. Julia?
Is it like a fermata?
Very good. Everybody say fur. Fermata. Fermata. Okay, so this is what a fermata looks like. And what they did, no. Look up here. This means you're holding the note out longer than the full value. Now, whenever you have a band, who tells you when you cut off? The conductor does. But whenever you have an ensemble, you have to choose somebody to make the ensemble cut off. Okay? Really, really nice job. All right, so just a really quick review. Somebody give me one way that you can vary a melody. What's one way that you can vary a melody? Margot?
Adding a fermata?
Adding a fermata. Okay, what else?
Rhythm.
That's really the biggest one. Okay, I showed you several different examples and a lot of you did that really well. What else, Maisha? Dynamic markings. What else, Nick? Staccatos. Those are called articulations. Say articulations. Staccato. Slur. Legato. Okay, so we can change the articulations. Changing the notes. What about the one variation that I asked you went from happy to sad? What did they do? They changed it into what? They changed it into what? Someone I haven't called on yet. Jacob. Minor, okay? So those are all different ways that we can vary melodies. All right, here's what I would like for you to do next. I want you to very carefully return your instrument back to your assigned seat and then come back and get your stand. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that.